you so much for taking some time with us and welcome to this interview. I've seen you've joined a while ago a new startup, and I love everything you've been doing so far, and I love all the work and all the things and all the knowledge you've been sharing with us. So I really wanted to jump on this opportunity to talk a little bit about your latest developments and what you're doing. Um, so just because our viewers don't know you, real quick, could you just tell me two things, like who you are and what you love about the HR tech market where you're currently in?
Right. Thanks, Dave. My name is Bob. I'm with Talent Data Labs as a business development director. Well, I'm excited with what I'm doing in the talent analytics HR space. Well, I must say that this is what is going to change the business world. See, I'm a big advocate of using technology. I believe in using technology to really hunt and keep and find great top talents. Well, I think this is one area that is lacking because what could be more important than to handle the biggest asset of company, which is human capital. So yeah, and I think this is important, and that's why I love to be part of that in the HR tech space.
Right, to remove bias by actually using data, right? Rather than using tools to, and I think that's important because that's what I feel like is going wrong as well. And we look at the market and we look at hiring, right, as a goal, or hiring more, hiring better, right? But we should look at the data as a goal, I think. And if you look at the data as a goal, we're talking about proof, about evidence, about demonstrating success, right, in a way. So I also see that I'm reading on the website now, you've joined Talent Data Labs, and in Talent Data Labs, it's like a very data heavy, very uh, unusual startup in that sense. So could you tell me a little bit about them and what makes them so different?
Oh yeah, rather the simple reason I joined Talent Data Labs is that the way that the companies kind of forms the approach towards this unbiasedness towards data in presenting to the company, it brings valuable insights in simple to the company. And you see, Talent Data Labs allow this methodology, I'll call it, and it allows companies to compare apple to apple. It brings about, even creating a successful profile, to compare it to a promising candidate that they want to recruit in. And this gives them a benchmark and a base to start off with. And very sad to say that the most of the tools out there are too generic, and they can't personalize it to what the companies really want, unique to its own culture and requirements. Well, when I first heard about Talent Data Labs and what it gives and offers to the marketplace, I think that most companies should explore to find something unique for their own, a platform that can bring this unbiased form of approach in data analytics, and yeah, and improve both from their recruitment to hiring and to find out the gaps within the company as well.
Mind if I ask you a little bit more, because you're talking about personalization and gaps and those kind of things, and that's something I don't hear often, right? So we're usually looking at, you know, improvements at large, but can you talk a little bit more about personalization and gaps? Because that's really interesting to me.
Well, can you imagine that you have, say, for your own company, ABC that run and hires recruitment drive for some technical technicians. And can you imagine that this is unique to your ABC company, that you have a profile, a trait unique for your own technicians? All technicians sounds the same. You say, oh, we're just all doing the same job. No, I would say that unique to your own company, ABC, you will need certain engineers or technicians unique to your proposition of what your company carries. And what you want is somebody who you actually on board and recruit to stay long in the company. to give you a return of investment over a longer period of time, ones that will fit into a company and is happy and serving within the company. But most companies out there, if even if you recruit somebody with the right skill set and the best of choice, but if that candidate is not going to stay with the company, or if the candidate is going to within a very short frame of time quit, it costs the company more money. In fact, the company will have to recruit again, on board a new candidate, retrain, and hoping, I would say use the word hoping, that he will contribute and bring forth a better return for company, which is not the case most of the time. And that's why I would say that to have a tool that is really unique to the company's understanding of your own traits of behavior, of the skill sets, the personality, and also the unique culture of the company. Having everything as such in place, there's really not many tools in the marketplace right now.
Interesting that you say so. So you're talking about a fully changeable or fully, I can press the buttons basically, theoretically, to make all the recruits or the people who hire or all my employees like uh, stand out, that are most relevant to us, but only to us. So if I would give you that person and you put that person in another, so let's say the person that rolls out as the most relevant to me, if I would give you that person and you would give that to another interviewer or to another media sort of agency, their score might be completely different for the same role.
Well, yes, because first of all, in factors of human, we all have our own biasness and understanding towards a different role. At the same time, every company is different in accepting whether this personality or the skill set fits, or even the behavioral or what is going to fit to the culture of a specific company will be a fit. And if you go to another company with the same role, it depends. Individuals will perform differently, right? Not just being affected by the company culture and aspects as well. So I would say that it all depends on a great fit of what the candidates can fit the company. So my question is to the companies and Steve, to you yourself and out there, do you know your own company culture? Most of us say that they do, but to put that in a pen paper, they don't. And to say that would the candidates fit your company and stay and perform in the company, do you know exactly what to look for this engineer? What are the behavioral traits? What are the personality that will ensure that this candidates will perform in your company? Well, I don't think so. Most companies can't put that down in specific what they're actually looking for. Yes, they may say they're looking for specific skill sets, how long in the industry, what they're good at, and so forth. Well, most of the time people can do that when anybody could fit into a skills set of what they're required to do. But can they do it well and perform within the culture, within the company, and would they be able to manage their staff along with the different managers in place? That's a question mark, I would say.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. I mean, we all see those websites, right, where they're trying to recruit the best people that are the most driven, right? Essentially, if everyone is recruiting the best people that are the most driven, I mean, what makes you stand out, right? And then that's, I think you're talking a lot about that as well in your material, and I really like that. But the real question is actually, do you feel that this is something that's going to change in the future? I mean, I know you're trying to have a massive impact on that, right? Where you're really trying to make companies understand what their cultures are, but also what their performance indicators are. But if we look at this in the future, do you feel like it's going to change? Do you feel, what do you see? If you look 5 years, 10 years in the future, what do you think will happen?
So the world is moving so far with the pandemic and so forth. A lot of people fail to understand that in hiring the space kind of shift. It shifted into a focus, and now we're talking more on the employee rather than employer. The employees' data keep changing, ever moving. They are adopting new skills. They are, they're moving on from jobs to jobs, and the employee engagement changes. So these are the things that is going to change in the whole HR tech space. The workforce diversity that is going to be different. The workforce productivity is something that not many companies are measuring at this point, and the training and development that is required for any employees from phase to phase, and also from roles to roles and responsibilities as well. So I will put it very bluntly that in the next 5 years in HR tech space, there's a need of great analytics and data collection. And this in this corporate world, there will be a real big change that people will be looking at in this aspects where HR tech companies will expand into their market, stay ahead of changes with this change of employees, engagement and data, and also how to measure the productivity and workspace as well. So I see that this is going to be a trend driven by the fact that the HR prediction shows that in fact 90% of organization plans to assess their talent through analytics. Well, let's just say that data and science don't lie. And any companies that doesn't have this in place or doesn't have a tools or a platform or a solution in place are bound to lose out in the years to come. We've talked about the coming 5 years. Well, go get yourself some talent analytics tool. I think it will really, really be prepared for the coming change.
Great. So if you want to invest, if you want to have a portfolio of companies, look at the companies that actually start building people data and can improve, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this, Bob. I mean, this is like it's a conversation that I would go on and on forever with. I'm very curious to learn more. I hope we catch each other very soon again to continue this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We've learned a lot. I mean, I'm curious to hear what you're going to do next, because we've talked about how the current market kind of looks at hiring as a efficiency tool, right? So reduce time to hire, reduce, get candidates in quick. And then you've also talked just now about employees, like the people are now running the market basically, right? So hiring them fast that's going to be making your life very difficult, right? You need to entertain them or bring them in or, match them to your environment as good as possible and explain that to them. And then lastly, you've talked about that if in the future we don't all amass enough data, if we don't look at our workforce as a evolving, changing and ever-changing basically group of people, and we don't have the data to see that, we're going to basically be irrelevant in this market. Well, not necessarily irrelevant, but definitely behind.
That's right.
So that's very interesting. Do you have any final comments?
Well, you can't go ahead without knowing where you are as a company. And, data is the way to go. So check it out. Go visit our website in Talent Data Labs and find out more.
Amazing. Thanks again, Bob. Great to speak to you.
Thank you.